Good Thursday afternoon, Houston. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Kim Castro. I'll talk about the heat. I'll talk about increasing rain chances, a check at the tropics, and I have your extended outlook to plan ahead for the following week. Right now, we've got a mixture of some bright blue sky and a couple of fair weather clouds, plenty of heat as well. 93 degrees right now, the current reading at IAH, our official recording station. We're a little bit warmer than where we were yesterday, and of course, it always feels hotter than what you see the temperature show. It feels like 98. Dew points aren't all that high though this afternoon. Upper 60s is a little lower than I've seen them the last couple of days. So that's a win. Not as humid, but still enough humidity to make it feel like we're already in the triple digits in Sugarland. 92 feels like 103. In Galveston, 89 feels like 97. It feels like the upper 90s pretty much anywhere you go. Conroe, 90 degrees right now, feels like 98. As we continue to see those temperatures climb, say to the mid 90s, that is when you need to have extra caution, because anything in your car heats up extremely fast. I mean, look at that. 10 minutes, 95 turns to 114. 40 minutes turns to 133, 138. That's because a car is very much like a greenhouse. So you get that solar radiation to come through the window with some pretty good strength. And then whatever's emitted back out into space doesn't have as much strength. It's what we call long wave radiation versus short wave that comes in. Long wave doesn't escape through the window and it gets trapped in the car, and that's why it heats up so fast, and that's why it's so dangerous. Summertime, really anytime, you shouldn't leave any pets or kids in the car, but especially as we start to see those temperatures kicking up. So we get to that 95 right as we approach 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then that high temperature makes it up into the triple digits for a lot of areas today. I think Acres Homes, Woodgate, Hunters Creek, the Heights, all right at 100. Justino City right there. Pasadena close. I think your high temperature gets up to 99. If you're in Jersey Village, you'll be at 99 too. Mission Bend 98. Hot, humid, an isolated shower chance. It's those lucky spots that get some rain that might only max out in the mid 90s. 95 is what I'm looking at for your high temperature in Angleton, and closer to the coastline will be in the mid and upper 80s. So far, the month of July has been pretty manageable, at least for the first part of it, the middle part of it. Now that we're approaching the end of the month, we have seen those temperatures kick up a notch, especially this week. We went from 98 on Monday to the century mark. We got really close to it yesterday, and today with that 101, we could potentially hit a record for this time of year. But we also saw some nice cooler days. 7 below average so far, 14 above, 2 right where we should be for this time of year. Rain chances are going to help with those temperatures, bringing them down a notch. Today, because it's only a 20% rain chance, we're not going to see much of a shift in that weather pattern. In fact, I think we're going to be relatively hot. Tomorrow and Saturday, though, with a 50 to 60% chance for some downpours that will cool off the atmosphere. I'm watching some of this tropical moisture moving back into the area, and that's what's going to bring us a pretty stormy pattern through the weekend. Now, I did use the T word, talking about the tropics, so I'll give you an update on whether or not that's going to become organized or whether it's not just moisture. Galveston right now looks calm, it looks beautiful, but you do notice the cloud cover starting to build. Pleasure Pier is sitting at 89 degrees right now. It feels like 97. The breeze coming in out of the west-northwest at 6 miles an hour. I told you the cloud cover is building because there's a lot of moisture that's trying to work its way here to southeast Texas, coming off the coast of Louisiana. And although it looks pretty strong, at least the thunderstorm activity, the organization is extremely weak. And for that reason, the National Hurricane Center is not increasing the odds of this. It's been at 10% for the last 3 days or so, and today is no different. So the likelihood of this closing off and becoming tropical in nature, as far as the designation is concerned, is really low. So the next name on the list is Dexter. I don't think we're looking at Dexter here. We're certainly going to look at some downpours from the moisture that's moving in though. Today, I think it's going to be a setup day. So we see the moisture moving in, it starts to saturate the atmosphere, an isolated shower here and there possible. But the widespread rain, I don't think gets here until our Friday. You'll notice we start off with some coastal downpours and then that moisture moves inland. I think the areas that do get those downpours could pick up 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. So certainly keep an eye on radar for any plans that you had Friday afternoon into the evening. You might have to dodge some ponding. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple areas with high water because we're seeing this moisture coming in right out of the Gulf. Those drops are pretty big. So you'll definitely be using those windshield wipers on the highest setting Friday and Saturday. Saturday morning, the potential is there for an isolated downpour, and then the coverage increases. Through the afternoon, I'm thinking 1 to around 6 o'clock. That's when we're going to have the highest concentration of moisture, and then late night Saturday plans look good. Most of Sunday looks good too. So this is the breakdown of the 3 days that are coming up for us. With that 50% rain chance on Friday, that high temperature drops to 94%. On Saturday, your highest rain chance means your lowest high temperature. 92 will be where we max out. On Sunday, as those rain chances start scaling back a bit, back to just 20%, we'll kick up the temperatures a notch with that. So if you had to pick a day to you head to Herman Park, for example, I'd pick Sunday. Sunday's going to be a better bet that you don't have to shift your plans around, or you don't have to carry an umbrella and be concerned with mud at the park. The reason that we're kind of teetering between hot, rainy, back to hot is because we're relying on this area of high pressure. As it starts to shift to the northeast, the pattern changes. It creates this opening here, this vacancy for that tropical moisture to slide on in, especially because we're on the back end of the high pressure system. So high pressure has clockwise rotation. So with that wind flow coming in out of the southeast, it nudges whatever moisture is building in here directly towards us. So that's why we're going to have those pretty widely scattered thunderstorms. Then though, as we head into Sunday, high pressure starts migrating back, setting up over southeast Texas, and then once more, we see the heat make a return. So this is what it looks like on your 7-day forecast. We go from that high of 101 degrees to the mid-90s. That's a pretty substantial temperature drop, and it's all because of that increased rain chance. And like I said today, if we make it up to 101 degrees, that would tie the daily record. Your chance of seeing a shower today is pretty minimal, but don't be caught off guard if you see a couple raindrops on your windshield. That's just the atmosphere getting juiced up and ready for tomorrow. You'll certainly start to see some cloud cover building in this afternoon too. Scattered storms, highest potential tomorrow is going to be for the afternoon hours. Think 1 to even upwards of 7 o'clock in the evening. So even to your Friday night plans. Saturday, you could see some downpours in the morning and then again in the afternoon. So this is going to be a twofold chance to see some storms, which is why I increased that rain chance to 60%. But the nature of the storms are going to be pretty similar. Both of them tropical downpours with the possibility of thunder and lightning. So with that, that's why I advise you to just keep an eye on radar, especially if you like to do outdoor activities on the weekend, like go for those early morning runs, which is what I like to do on a Saturday morning. So of course, if I see lightning, then that gets canceled. Sunday, it's an isolated shower chance, back down to 20%. So we're just wrapping up the incoming moisture and starting to ramp up the heat back. So we go from 92 Saturday, 95 Sunday, and then next week, as high pressure starts to build back in, that's when we start to see the heat move in as well. Here's a snapshot of the rain potential, just to get an idea. This takes a snapshot right around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So today, you'll notice the snapshot at 4 o'clock in the afternoon has nothing. I think that 20% chance comes in this evening, and it's going to be mainly along the coastline. So that's why this particular model isn't really picking up on anything. Friday's snapshot, the best potential for rain on Friday is in the afternoon. So that's why you see the reflectivity go pretty high up. Saturday, it's a little bit more spread out. So we've got rain chances in the morning, which the model doesn't show here. And we've got rain chances in the afternoon. So you do see rain on the map, but not as much as Friday. So that's the explanation for that. And then Sunday, still tracking a chance for a couple scattered showers, but I really do think that the moisture at this point is going to be starting to slowly wind down. Of course, if we see something change, we will be updating you immediately. So check back in with our next newscast coming up at 4 o'clock. And then our chief meteorologist, David Paul, is here at 5, 6, and 10. He'll be able to show you the incoming rainfall totals and whether or not your neighborhood is going to see those tropical downpours. All right, we'll see you then.